Appendix 1, HSCA Procedural Write-Up, Cuba Trip 1. Select Committee members Chairman Louis Stokes and Congressman Christopher Dodd, accompanied by G. Robert Blakey, Gary Cornwell, and Ed Lopez of the Select Committee staff, arrived in Cuba at 3:30 p.m., March 30th, 1978. They were met and escorted through Cuban customs by the Mayor of Havana, Honorable Oscar Fernandez Mel, the Minister of Justice, Dr. Armando Torres Central, Senor Buergo, Ricardo Escartin, and the Cuban government translator, Juanita Vera. At approximately 7:30 p.m., Senor Mel escorted the Select Committee staff to a restaurant in Old Havana. The following day, Congressman Richardson Pryor arrived in Cuba at 7 a.m. At 9:30 a.m. on March 31st, 1978, the Select Committee representatives met with Ricardo Escartin, Senen Buergo, and Captain Felipe Villa of the Ministry of the Interior. The Cuban government gave the members and committee its official reply to the committee's questionnaire given to the Cuban government prior to the committee's trip to Cuba. At 3 p.m., the Select Committee met again with Ricardo Escartin, Senen Buergo, Felipe Villa, and Juanita Vera. During this session, the two major areas of discussion were Lee Harvey Oswald's visa application and the dates of Jack Ruby's visits to Cuba in 1959. At 7:30 p.m., the House Select Committee on Assassinations staff dined with the Minister of Justice, Armando Torres Central. At 9 a.m. on April 1st, 1978, the Select Committee staff again met with the same Cuban officials for a third session. Santo Traficante was the major area of discussion. At noon, committee members and staff representatives met with Cuba's Minister of Education, Honorable José Ramón Fernández, who gave a presentation on the improvement in quality of Cuban education since the Cuban Revolution. Following Senor Fernández's discussion, at 3:15 p.m., Eusebio Azcue was interviewed by the committee staff representative. Azcue was questioned extensively about Oswald's alleged trip to Mexico City, Oswald's alleged visits to the Cuban consulate, and Senor Azcue's alleged argument with Lee Harvey Oswald. At 7:30 p.m., April 1st, 1978, Messrs. Escartin and Hernandez accompanied the House Select Committee staff for dinner and show to the Tropicana Club, which, prior to the Revolution, was operated by organized crime. The Tropicana Club is presently run by the Cuban government. At 11 a.m. on April 2nd, 1978, the committee staff again met with Senen Buergo, Ricardo Escartin, Felipe Villa, Aramis Gutierrez, and Juanita Vera. Santo Traficante, Jack Ruby, and Mexico City were the major areas of discussion. This session terminated at 1 p.m. At 4:50 p.m., the morning's meeting resumed. During the afternoon session, the major area of discussion was the alleged pro-Castro involvement in the assassination. At 9:15 a.m., April 3rd, 1978, the committee's staff met with the Cuban officials for a final work session. During this session, the intelligence agencies and general questions derived from the questionnaire which the committee had provided to the Cuban government were the major areas of discussion. During the session, the committee staff and Cuban officials also exchanged listings of pending material which might be covered during a subsequent trip to Cuba by HSCA representatives and congressmen. At 6 p.m., the committee staff met with President Fidel Castro Ruz, who assured the committee that neither he nor his government had any involvement in the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The House Select Committee on Assassinations staff departed Havana, Cuba, at 10 a.m., April 4th, 1978, arriving in Washington, D.C. at 4:30 p.m.